you know, when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I was excited. 5,000 was exciting. I think I did a video for 2,000. I think I did a video for 10,000 as well. And here we are at 20,000, and it's totally changed. The whole I don't know how else to put this. Knowing that there's that many people that at some point in time have hit the subscribe button. And remember, the like button is not too far from it, and it's your friend as well. It's very flattering, and it's kind of awesome. And I've done my best to make sure that people who are new to the channel get caught up. For instance, my fandom of the Canucks first, the Bruins second, and the Stars third. And then there's the whole hockey. So when you look at my collection and you ask yourself, well, why did he buy those? Is it just because it was hockey? Sometimes. Sometimes. But there are reasons why I buy most jerseys. This one, as a for instance, I bought because red, black, yellow. It's a German flag, my boys and girls. Yeah, that's the German flag right there, and that's why I like that one so much. That's my favorite Kings design they ever had. Now, of course, when they had the coat of arms on the front, that's even more fun. And when it was purple, that's even more fun. But it's still a pretty sharp jersey, and that's why I have that one. And what I like with this one is the flags here. The funny thing is, I don't like the flags on the red jersey. I don't like the flags on the home jersey they have currently, and I didn't like the flags on the old home jersey, but I like them on here. I like them in silver. I don't know why they didn't go to that one full time. This was the second jersey I ever bought, and it shows. With the smaller logo than jerseys have now. Jerseys have massive, humongous logos at this point. They seem to get bigger all the time. I would imagine that's for TV, which wasn't as big an issue back in 1991 when I bought this. Yeah, 1991. So it's got snags, and it's got all kinds of little things with it, but it's also got the you know, I never understood how they called that a bear. Because it looks like a tiger, and when I was a little kid, I thought it was a tiger. And somebody said, oh, the Bruins is bears. And I'm like, really? Because that looks like a tiger. Or something. Looks like something I would have drawn as a little kid, and then they used it as the logo. And I'm old enough to remember when Pittsburgh went away from this logo to go with the more corporate-looking penguin, which very few people liked. And yet they changed to it full time. Part of the reason that I have jerseys like this, it's not just for the channel, it's not just for the people here. That's Pittsburgh too. That's my James Neal, which I got for cheap. And right now, if you're a Vegas fan, you're like, hey, he's got James Neal. And if you're a Predators or Penguins fan, you might swear about it. And if you're a Dallas fan, you might swear about James Neal. But to me, all of this is much like my magazines, which I've discussed many, many times over. Every magazine and every jersey is a snapshot, is a remembrance of something from before. So, and for me, it's not just getting the nice looking jersey or the new jersey or the trendy jersey, because to me, that's the easy thing to do. And while Vegas is fun, that's fun too. It's fun because that's a chapter of Buffalo's history that pretty soon people are going to start forgetting about. Because it's ugly. People don't wear it like they would have. I don't even know why people wore it, but it was the #1 selling jersey when it first came out. When they switched to that logo, it became the #1 selling jersey that year. And they talked about that too. They're like, well, it can't be ugly because it's the #1 selling jersey. Maybe people thought like I did, like, it's not going to last, we might as well buy it for history's sake. Florida, Anaheim, with the Mighty Ducks there, that's there for retro appeal. when I picked up this one last summer. Or during the spring, actually, I got this one. And it was because it's the 50th anniversary. Can't see it very well in the camera right now, but you got the gold stripe right here. So, you know, the number one thing about this is, yeah, I accept any and all collectibles because any hockey collectible is worth something to me. For instance, this was $5 at Kohl's. 100 Years of Hockey Glory. WHA legitimized as Bobby Hull signs with them. Great rivalries. Edmonton versus Dallas. Oh, that's a fun one. That was the rivalry where Dallas usually won it. There was 1 year Edmonton won, but then Dallas came back and beat them again anyways. I remember back then, you know, Dallas would make the playoffs and be like, oh, who are they going to face? And they face Edmonton. Oh, all right, at least we got the first round off. That's good, that's nice. And then they'd knock Edmonton out, and then they get knocked out themselves usually. Winnipeg Jets who've played in the All-Star game. See, there's fun stuff in here. Doug Smale, 1990. Smale topped the 20-goal mark 4 times in his career. Also played with Minnesota, Quebec, and Ottawa after a decade in Winnipeg. He played 3 seasons in Great Britain after his NHL days were over. See, that's one of those little tidbits that gets thrown in there that you go, oh, that's really cool. I've been asked about that too. How do you feel about British hockey? Well, I've never seen it. I know that in terms of its standing with hockey, it's a lower tier. Doesn't mean it's not still good hockey, because it's hockey. I'll watch any hockey. I don't care. It's Keith Tkachuk, Alexei Zhamnov, Phil Housley, Timo Solani. Yeah, it's fun. Gretzky's 99 All-Stars Tour Europe. So during the first lockout, Gretzky took a team and put them in these abomination jerseys that say 99. Basically, they're the Detroit flashback to the Falcons, but got 99 on the front. Because rather than call them, you know, the NHL All-Stars, they were the Gretzky All-Stars, because of course they were. Wayne Gretzky, a man who had been perennially attached to rink since his childhood, wasn't about to allow the ice time to be completely abolished. The Great One, the defending Art Ross Trophy winner, assembled a group of players to tour Europe to not only promote the game but also raise funds for charity. The team was aptly named the 99 All-Stars. I would have called it NHL, but that's me. The players included goaltenders Grant Fuhr and Kelly Rudy, defensemen Rob Blake, Paul Coffey, Todd Gill, Charlie Huddy, Al McInnes, and Marty McSorley, and forwards Pat Conacher, Russ Courtnall, Sergei Fedorov, Tony Granato, Brett Hull, Steve Larmer, Kirk Muller, Mark Messier, Rick Tocchet, Steve Yzerman, and, of course, Gretzky. Pretty damn good team he had there. That's a fun team to put on the ice. Recently retired defenseman Doug Wilson was appointed the head coach. Joining Wilson behind the bench was the world's most famous hockey dad, Walter Gretzky. The 99 All-Stars Tour provided the opportunity for the players to take a bit of traveling vacation and to maintain their conditioning in the event of an end to the labor dispute and the return of NHL games. The All-Stars sweaters were red and white, bearing a resemblance to vintage Detroit Red Wings sweaters. Yeah. The words 99 were emblazoned on the front in cursive font. I haven't seen that jersey anywhere, but then again, I haven't specifically looked for it. I would imagine that's a really rare, expensive jersey. Before heading overseas, Gretzky's squad visited the Palace of Auburn Hills in Michigan for a December 1st game against the Detroit Vipers of the IHL. The Vipers won 4-3. The European tour kicked off 2 nights later in Helsinki, Finland. The All-Stars had 7 different scorers, including Gretzky himself, in a 7-1 rout of Jokerit. The next day, the NHLers fell 4-3 in overtime to Eels of Tampere. From there, it was off to Oslo to face the Norwegian Spectrum All-Stars. Gretzky scored in the team's 6-3 win that also featured goals from Kings teammate Tony Granato and former Oilers teammate and Rangers star Mark Messier. The All-Stars then faced 3 Swedish opponents, Djurgården, Västra Frölunda, and Malmö. They won the first 2 games 9-3 and 5-2 before losing the third 6-5 in overtime. The tour concluded December 14th with an 8-5 win over the German All-Stars. Gretzky's squad finished with 5 wins and 3 losses, and on January 11th, 1995, the lockout ended after 103 days of negotiations. And what's interesting with that is this awesome, ugly jersey of the guy who's shaking hands with Gretzky there, or just past Gretzky there. That is a beautiful, ugly European wonder. And there's a lot of those. And there's Ottawa's top draft picks, and it tells you where they're from and where they were drafted. $5 book. And other people would look at that and go, it's just crap. And they look at it, this is all just whatever. I don't need any of this. Any hockey minutia, any minor thing. That's why when people talk about autographs or meeting hockey players, my answer is, if I could sit down with NHLers, I would ask them questions about games they played, teammates they had. Autograph, I wouldn't end up getting one. They'd probably be like, oh, hey, did you get that guy's autograph? No. I think part of it is, as soon as you ask for somebody's autograph, you're a fan. And I don't want to be a fan. I know I am a fan of the game, and that's part of, I think, why this channel's gone where it's gone. But I want to be a student of it, too, in terms of there's always more history for me to learn with hockey. There's no end to it. And there's no end to the stories these guys can tell me. And I could sit down with a player who played 3 games in the NHL and played 800 games in the American League, and I would probably learn more about hockey from him in an hour than I can learn from 6 hours of watching a game, definitely. If I watch games back to back, and I compare what I've seen and what I've learned in that 6 hours of watching hockey to sitting down with an actual guy who played it for an hour, that would be amazing. And the stories and all of that. And I try to remember as much of it as possible. And I'm always hungering for more. So, and it can be anything. It can be a pin from a 1998 Stanley Cup final. It can be a hat of an ugly logo from 1996 that I gravitate to. There's no rhyme or reason. That's why when I look at my jersey collection, this jersey I'm wearing is one of my favorites, because the Canucks didn't wear this for very long. They went to white pretty quickly after this, and I wasn't happy that they went to white. I was okay with it. I mean, it looked better, definitely, but they lost some of the uniqueness they went with this. And then they changed the colors from the orange and marigold to red and yellow and just make them really loud. Not that this isn't loud as it is, but again, I argue it from a different perspective than other people. And I get asked that. Well, what do you look for? Well, if it's beautiful, I want it. If it's ugly, I want it. If it's hockey, I want it. I don't go into a store and say, I'm looking for X item. I go in and say, I wonder if I can find hockey here. And it can be anything. The very magnets that are on this board, this is from a poster. And, yeah, of course it did. Yeah. That's a Panini sticker that got turned into a magnet. And these are Panini stickers that got turned into magnets. And of course, this is from the standings board that I had last year, which is now useless because now there's 31 teams. So thanks. Poster. Like, there are tons of different ways of looking at it. And for me, I always look at it from a hockey point of view. These came from an NHL, the book, the Nativity, or not Nativity, Advent calendar. There you go, from the chocolate Advent calendar. So you look at this and go, hey, that's kind of cool. You got all those little. Where'd you get those? Advent calendar. What? If it's hockey, I buy it. And there's nothing else that's like that. I mean, I like football. I enjoy football. Football collectibles are fun. And, football jerseys are fun because they're short-sleeved, and when it's hot out, they're much cooler to wear than an NHL jersey. But I always want all of them. So it's funny because I tell people, and I mean this for me is a completed collection. This is virtually every jersey that I've ever wanted. Almost any jersey I've ever looked at and said, boy, I would really like to have that, is now a part of this. There are very few that I can look at and say, oh, I wish I had that. There's the Fisherman, the Islanders Fisherman. There's the Paddington Bear for the Bruins. And the coup de grace, which would be the Mighty Wing for the Anaheim Ducks. And I would wear that everywhere. But they're expensive, they're hard to find. Oh, the Burger King for the Kings as well. Notice these are all ugly. They're all from the late 90s. There was an ugly era there. And I think that while other people go out and buy their Adidas and they look great and that's awesome and they've got these great new jerseys that are all sharp and shiny, I look back 20 years and say, man, that was so ugly. I really want that because that was really ugly. And it is a part of the NHL's history. And it's a part that I think they're going to do their best to bury. And I don't mean necessarily that it's going to get buried and that the NHL is going to deny anything. But think about it. If you're putting together, let's say when the Ducks hit their 50th anniversary, other than a picture somewhere in a book for the 50th anniversary of, can you believe we wore this? Any picture taken of Teemu Selanne, Paul Kariya, or any of them wearing the mighty wing, which was a win, and they might have had a great game, they're not going to use that picture. They're going to use the purple Mighty Ducks jersey. They're not going to use a picture of the Mighty Wing because that's just ugly. Me, I'm all about the Mighty Wing. I'm all about the ugly because it's hockey. It's all hockey. And this really is awesome to me. And I love all the colors and all the jerseys, and it's where some people get confused. Well, why do you have 4 Ducks jerseys if you can't stand the Ducks? Or I have three Ducks jerseys. You have that many jerseys if you can't stand the Ducks. Because I like the colors. The Ducks jersey is beautiful. That is easily one of the best designed jerseys that I have. Everything on it is just awesome, and that's why they didn't really make any changes when they went over to Adidas. Because what's to fix on this? This is perfect. And that's coming out of the jerseys they had, which just had the word Ducks across the front, which were some of the most boring jerseys ever. Which is why I don't own that one yet. If it exists, I want it. Because it's hockey. So, at 20,000 subscribers, the best way to look at it is, it's just all hockey. It is the best game in the world. I think the NHL is the best league in the world because it's got the best players. I don't know that it's got the best ownership. But when I can look back, I can pull out any random magazine, and there's 2006-2007 preview. There's the Vancouver Canucks. And I know that was a year they were predicted to be pretty bad that year. There's Vancouver. There's the Sedins younger, and that's them wearing the Canucks jerseys with the red on the sleeve, on the shoulders. That's the only one left I don't have, is that one. It's the only one left I don't have, and I can't find it in anything other than a youth or a kid size. Has a metamorphosis occurred in Vancouver? They are certainly not your father's Vancouver Canucks. During the Brian Burke, Mark Crawford era, the Canucks were built around a strong offense, physical presence, and intimidation tactics. They featured one big scoring line, a slew of two-way defenders, and somewhat shaky goaltending. Version 2 of the Canucks under GM Dave Nonis and new head coach Alain Vigneault will be vastly different. Vancouver now has Canadian Olympian Roberto Luongo manning the cage, a more systematic approach under Vigneault, and the only major question marks up front. The times, they are a-changin'. New faces. Mark Schwannard. No. Lucas Krajicek. Well, he came with Luongo. Krajicek was okay. Willie Mitchell. Good move. Brad Moran. No. Tyler Pyatt. Sure. Taylor Pyatt. And Tommy Santala. Good old Santa. Moved. Brian Allen. Alex Auld. Of course, that was the famous trade. Nolan Baumgartner went as a free agent to Philly, and he got money that he'd earned, but he still wasn't an NHL defenseman. I'm glad he got a big payday out of that, though. Todd Bertuzzi, Sven Butenschon, which was the greatest name ever, really. Butenschon. Awesome. Keith Carney, free agent of Minnesota. Dan Cloutier, trade to LA. Ed Jovanovski left as a free agent for Phoenix. And Jarkko Ruutu left as a free agent for Pittsburgh. Remaining free agents: Wade Brookbank, Sean Brown, Anson Carter, Trevor Linden, Maxime Ouellet, or Omelette, and Richard Park. And then they get into the forecasts and how they think guys are going to do. And it's really funny because this magazine projected them to be third. But I seem to remember the Hockey News projecting them a lot lower than the Sports Forecaster did. Canucks will be an unrecognizable outfit in 06-07. Gone is the big line, rock'em, sock'em hockey, and questionable goaltending. Going forward, they will more closely resemble the Calgary Flames than the Colorado Avalanche's. Defense will be the name of the game. There are plenty of problems up front, and overall depth seems to be lacking. However, Luongo will make the difference. Happy and settled with a new 4-year contract, he will quickly become the face of the franchise in the Pacific Northwest. Even with Luongo at his Vezina best, though, it may not be enough for Vancouver to return to the postseason. See? Luongo took a 4-year contract. That was the norm. 4 years. 4 years was a perfect term for a contract. These 8-year contracts are insane to me. You cannot tell how anybody's going to be playing in 8 years. Oh, I like this. It's Tyler Pyatt here, and they spelled Taylor Pyatt right on the next page. That's some good spell checking. That's fantastic. Oh, and Mika Nornen is the backup. Nope, he didn't come back. He didn't come back that year. Nornen had come over to Vancouver because he wanted a shot at the starter job. And then Vancouver went out and got Luongo, so Nornen refused to come back. He's like, well, Vancouver's not going to want me, so I'm out of here. And he never came back to the NHL at all. So there you go. I love hockey. I can pick up any magazine at any time, read anything to anybody, whether they care or they don't. And I do. So thanks for being a part of it. Here's to going further and further with subscriber counts and seeing how far we can go. And I don't do this to compete with anybody else. I don't do this to be anybody else. And I don't do this for anything other than my love of hockey and providing hockey news and hockey information to people who otherwise may not get hockey where they are. Whether you're in a rural part of the States that doesn't cover hockey, or you're in certain parts of Europe where NHL hockey may not be covered, or you may not get the coverage that you really want. So I want to provide that, and of course for people across Canada who are looking to hear about every team, and not just about the local team, or not just about Toronto or Montreal. I want to hear about everybody. I try to provide that too. Thanks for being a part of it. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And you guys make this work. And I thank you. I'll talk to you again soon.